So this is a track that a subscriber of mine sent me. It sounds really good, but I want to make it great. So in this video, I'm going to be transforming my subscribers' beats into something new. I'm going to walk you through my process to take this to the next level. It's going to be full of golden nuggets and tips on how to improve your beats. So stay tuned, and at the end of the video, you're going to see the outcome. Let's get into it. I've got the beat pulled up in Logic. And I gotta be honest, I love the vibe of what he's going for, but I feel like it just needs a bit more groove, a bit more energy to get people moving. So the first thing I'm actually gonna do, I'm gonna put this to about 145 BPM, which is actually quite fast. So let's make sure we got all the stems selected, and then we're just gonna flex time it. So now everything is a lot faster. Let's go ahead and start with the chords. That's probably my favorite part of the track. I love the pattern, it's moving very, very well. There's just one chord change that I want to switch. Towards the end of the progression, there's a slight chord change here. I don't actually think we need that, so I'm going to cut it out but leave the rest. And instead, I'm just going to repeat the chords from here. I really like how the filter kind of automates. It goes up and down. It really gives it some movement. But I want to process this even more. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually just take out a little bit more low end. And to get it grooving even more, I'm going to throw on a little pattern maker. So now it kind of delays even more from side to side. Yeah, that sounds cool. I'm gonna throw in a tiny bit of reverb. I feel like the reverb just adds to that emotion. And then one more plugin that I want to put on it is something that just makes it sound even more intense. So perhaps when we go through the track, we can automate this. Gives it more high end. There's another element in this track. I think this is really cool, but it sounds extremely intense. And the way I'm hearing it is probably more in the background as like a drone. So I'm actually not going to change too much of it. I want to keep the essence, but we're just going to process it heavily. That's adding to that emotional vibe again. So now we've got like two contrasting melodies, something really atmospheric and something that's more rhythmic. There's another element from this original track that I think is going to add a lot to it. I think it's this stutter right here. It's really cool. I definitely need to get that in there. With that vocal, we don't really need to change too much to it. Again, we just need to process it with a little bit of reverb. So for the rest of the stems, let's just hide those for now. Get it out the way. I want to add some more melodic elements to this track, and the way I'm going to do that today is by using Co-Producer by Output. So shout out to them for sponsoring this video. This is a brand new plugin that they just dropped. So I'm on my master channel right now, and that's where I'm going to load it. And the way how it works, we can either describe a sound that we're trying to go for, or we can play our beat. We'll take a listen. We'll analyze what we got, just select the key. I'm pretty sure we're in A flat minor, and then hit find samples. It's going to listen to our track and then create sounds that could potentially work with what we're going with. So let's take a listen what it suggested. I want to give it a prompt. I want to go for a lead. So let's just type that in and see what it can come up with. I like that. Might have to come back to that one. I kind of like this one. I think I want to see if I can find something that's similar though. Ooh, that's the one right there. I like that. I'm literally just going to drag it straight into my DAW, and it's going to be lined up perfectly. What's nice about Co-Producer as well, everything is in the DAW. I don't have to go to another website and drag it in and then time stretch it, try and find the right BPM, try and find the right key. It's just all there. So I'm going to take that. I think it would actually sound better a whole octave up. And of course, I want to process it even more, try and make it a little bit more of my own. First things first, let's add in some smack attack, because I want it to be a bit more punchier. Now we can throw some delay on that and some reverb. Nice. As well as just dragging your sample straight into the DAW, you could open it up in Arcade. And from there in Arcade, you can use their own effects to really make it your own. It's going to be a super useful plugin for me in the future for sure. We'll come back to it, but if you do want to check it out, I've got a link in the description, of course, where you can go ahead and get a free trial for 7 days. Or if you already use Arcade, you can use this plugin for free for 60 days. This is the bassline that we're working with. I love the pattern, but I think it's got just a bit too much movement on it. So I'm going to open up a different bass and pretty much do something very, very similar. So I think the bass line is going something like dum, 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 dum. So let's just pencil that in. Bum, bum, bum. Let's repeat that over. And then I'm just following essentially the bass notes. Bum, 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 bum. In this section, let's actually just lower it. Let's add some drums on top of this now. So literally, let's just put it 4 on the floor throughout the whole thing. And I'm just going to turn on my side chain so the kick can really hit hard. Usually I like to start with my bass and my kick, and then I'll add in an open hat, clap, and then I'll add loops around it and stuff to start bringing out the groove and the energy. So that open hat is literally just going to go in between. Even just with that, it's sounding vibey so far, but I don't want to leave it like that just because it's going to be too rigid, too boring. We definitely need some more groovier elements to this. Whenever you're dragging loops into Logic, what you want to do is just make sure that on your tempo settings, you put it on a line and bars. Anytime you drag something in, it will snap to the grid. Kind of like the high end on that. Let's drag that in. Definitely want to take out all of the low end. Take out that clap. And then I'm just trying to find where it fits in the groove. I've chopped up a few more loops, and this is the groove that we're rolling with. Add in the clap, the kick. Now you feel it moving a little bit more. Feel like maybe just a weird kind of vocal chop. Something random like that to just go with the groove could work. Low key, I like that, but not the whole thing because it's a bit busy. We don't need all of it. So I'm gonna cut that out, and I'm gonna EQ it because it's gonna have a bit of artifact. You can hear it in the high end. It's just meant to be faint. It's not meant to be perfect. Once all the other loops are on top, it'll be fine. Let's go back to Co-Producer and see if we can find any percussion loops or some bongos that could add to the groove, because there was a couple before that sounded really cool. I like that. It's got like a nice high end. So I found this perk loop. So let's just chop it up. So I'm hearing something like dun 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 dun. I'm actually going to group them together. Take out some more low. And then I'm going to throw this plugin called Orion on top as well. Just for a bit more processing, make it sound a bit more crisp. So now that we've got the drums and we've got the melody, I want to structure it out a little bit just so we can get an idea for the break. So in the beginning, we can have the kick, the bass, all of the drums, and the main synth. But then once we come to the end of that and we go into the break, that's when I want to introduce the pad. And then after that, we can drop back into the drums where the hook would be. But also, just to have more impact after the drums, we don't want to introduce everything at the same time. So this is where we can add in filters to slowly, gradually build it up. On this section, I'm hearing some chords. So let's put that in. Boom, boom. And then for some variation, I'll duplicate it over, but instead on this side, I'm actually just going to transpose. So that's just going to be very subtle. I've made it quiet on purpose with a bunch of reverb. Dun, 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 dun. Maybe a lead as well. Put that in. I like the vibe. I feel like it could do with a vocal in the intro of this song.
Fire. My love is blind, can't you see
I like the spoken words.
That's the way love goes.
That's the way love goes. I don't know, I'm hearing it as some spoken word. Let's just try it. If it works, it works. Maybe even we can automate the volume as it goes in. Alright, I've structured it out even more and I've put in quite a lot of automation to keep it interesting and have progression throughout the whole thing, and a lot of little stuff like crashes and sweeps. So let me break it down for you. With the beginning with the melodies, the stabs is going to be the main thing, but as we get to the first breakdown, that's when we start to automate that lead. And then also with the main stabs, I'm automating the exciter, so it just feels bigger and brighter in your face as we get to the drop. When it comes to the drums, we got some sweeps, so it sweeps down, and also every 8 bars I make sure to have a crash come in. It kind of just signifies that there's a new section. And probably like one of the most important things when it comes to building up that energy, a snare roll. One more crazy thing that I added in this beat, in Serum 2, I use this preset right here. It's just an effects, like a transition. Crazy. Let's take a listen to the beats. So this is the original by Sam that he sent me. Great idea, I love all the elements, just needed some energy. And I think he was going for more of like an Afro house kind of vibe on this. I'm gonna send my beat over to Sam, let him take a listen, see what he feels about it.
Alright, just got the track back from Ocean. This is my first time listening to it. I can't wait to hear what he's done with it. Let's take a listen. The vibe's completely different straight off the bat. I love it.
So this one is definitely more like trancey, upbeat.
New lead as well.
I love that lead. So now the energy just needs to chill out for a sec and then we bring it back in. I love how that section just comes in.
Coming into the build up. Wow, Ocean. Good job, man.
You can feel that stab now, just way heavier.
Good job, man. I love it. It's so good.
Let me know what you think in the comments below. I would love to turn this into a series, so if this is something that you'd like to see, maybe you want to get your beats fixed, definitely leave a comment below, let me know. Also, I've got a link in the description to co-producer. I'm sure it's going to be a weapon for your tracks as well.